Hello ladies, today I'm talking about the much misunderstood and misrepresented Proverbs 31 woman. Unfortunately today many Christian feminists use this chapter as a reason to send their wives to work, make them work hours and hours on the computer to earn their living, to help earn their keep, to help bring in money. And if you knew the nature of a woman, you would understand that her heart can be distracted and pulled away, and then she's very loyal to whatever it is that she goes into. And that is why I like to encourage women to enjoy their home, enjoy their children, because this is what her role is. This is what Titus 2 teaches. So I'm going to start by saying that there are so many things in Proverbs 31 that we could be reading on the web that preachers could be talking about, but they only talk about the money part. And so I'll start out by saying that it says her worth is far above jewels. Now, why don't we have sermons saying you've got a wife and you've got a good wife, she's worthy, she has worth, and it's far above rubies, and the heart of her husband trusts in her? Why don't preachers say you need to be having a personal trust in your wife, not always be suspicious, not to be bitter against her, that kind of thing? We don't hear that anymore. We don't hear that at all, because the focus on Proverbs 31 is this woman was industrious and she earned money. But let's talk about the other things that she did. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax and works with her hands willingly. Why doesn't someone say, I want to sew? So my husband ought to provide me with a sewing machine and with the money that I need to bring in the materials to make beautiful things, and I want the high quality things. No, we don't hear that very much. She brings her food from afar, and this is another thing. Why don't we have people saying on the web and on all these articles about the Proverbs 31 woman that the woman at home should be seeking out the best quality food, the highest quality? And also it says she gives food to her household and portions to her maidens. Okay, provide your wife with servants. Where's all the big hullabaloo about, having servants so she can function properly? And then she plants a vineyard when she considers a field and buys it, and then she sells it and she plants a vineyard. Okay, give me the money to buy a field, and then with the profits I will plant a vineyard. Well, we don't hear all that. All we hear is, oh, she's a real estate agent. Look, she considered a field and bought it, and then she made a profit. See, they see, it's just dollar signs comes out in their eyes the minute they see these words. And yet we've already covered about 5 things that she does that are never mentioned in sermons, never mentioned in these books, never mentioned on the web. And it's all this pressure to send the woman to work even if she's at home. She girds herself with strength and she makes her arms strong. Why don't we have people insisting that husbands make sure that the wife has the money and a car so she can go to regular exercise classes? She senses that her gain is good. Oh, they see the word gain, her profit, or the word profit. They see that, and there again, oh, she's a working woman. Her lamp does not go out at night. She works late at night, and she stretches out her hands to the needy. Okay, why don't we hear sermons about how women should regularly fill up a basket of food and take it to the needy? This used to be one of the things women at home did because they had the privilege of having a little bit more than others, and they would make sure they made regular. I know because I've been a preacher's wife, and years ago the preacher's wives would collect a basket of food from the ladies' class and then go deliver it to the poor. She is not afraid of snow for her household because they're all clothed in scarlet and purple. Those were royal fabrics. Those are high quality fabrics. They're the best. Why don't these preachers and these women, these feminist women, insist that the women at home be clothed in the most highest quality clothing? Instead, they're expected to go and buy cheaply because they're at home. After all, they should feel guilty they're not contributing. And yet here's a woman who makes herself coverings of fine linen and purple, and even for her family. And here's another one. Her husband sits, he's known in the gates where he sits among the elders of the land. Okay, well, why isn't my husband sitting among the elders of the land? And she makes linen garments and sells them and supplies belts to the tradesmen. Let's get this straight. She sells the garments that she makes, and the linen garment was a girdle, which was a wrap that went around to hold the clothing close. It was like a big belt. And she's making these garments, but she's giving them to the merchant so he can sell it. She doesn't sit all day in a shop. But even then, remember, she had servants to do her housework, so she has time to sew and make these things. And it says she smiles at the future. Well, how much do people make women at home worry about what's going to happen to them if they don't work and they don't get an income? And they worry about the future, and they make the women worry, and they can't concentrate on nursing their babies, and they can't concentrate on enjoying their cooking or cleaning their house or just being at home with their family or taking care of their husbands. They don't enjoy it because they're worried. They're worried about the future, because people are always talking about how if you don't make money, you're just going to end up under a bridge. And I've never known of anyone who ended up under a bridge because she was a faithful wife and mother and homemaker, who's frugal and who's following the Lord's way. It's always some other reason. The teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Well, why don't we insist that women be teachers of children and speak Bible things to them? Where's all this preaching that goes on that says women ought to stay home and teach their children? We don't see that. Only the money is all we hear about. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Okay, where are the children rising up to call them blessed? Why aren't preachers and websites and all these homemaker sites saying, you children and you husbands ought to be praising your mother and the wife? But instead, the women worry all the time about money, because that's all we hear from this chapter is money. And it says, a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. You know how many people are trying to divest and disenfranchise women of everything they have worked for. We don't plant a field, we don't plant a crop, and then expect not to have the harvest. And yet so many people, they don't want you to enjoy your children. Even if you've homeschooled them, they can't wait to get them away from you, because they want you to have failure and heartache just like they did. And you're going to find this undermining going on all the time. And so where are the preachers, and where are the lessons that teach women all the other things in Proverbs 31, like women should sew, they should make clothes, they should buy the best food and learn to prepare it? Where is all this emphasis on this? And yet we only see maybe 2 places where it talks about profit. But it seems like when you see the word profit, sell, and merchant, people's eyes just fling wide open, and it's all about the money. So this is my little sayings, my little discourse about the Proverbs 31 woman. Please let me know what you think. Thank you. Bye.